What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down my entire mastering chain for you step by step, and I'm going to be showing you guys how I get my songs so loud without clipping inside of platforms like Apple Music and Spotify. So I have a Pro Tool session pulled up here, and this song is from a buddy of mine that came over a couple days ago to record, and I was mixing the song, and then I realized I wanted to show you guys the mastering chain, so I reset everything and I put my standard mastering chain back on here. Everything's completely reset. And what we're going to do is we're going to master the song together. And by the end of this video, hopefully you're going to completely understand why I did what I did. And you'll be able to do the same thing in your work. So let's play a couple bars of the song to get an idea of where we're at. And then we'll start opening up plugins on the mastering chain.
By any means, gotta go and get the cash by any means. What I'm sipping on codeine. Where my perks at? No, I see I'm in my dream. I've been getting higher than a damn fiend.
Cool. So you get the gist of the song. Now we are going to make that loud. We're going to make that crazy loud. And while doing so, we're also going to make sure that the song is protected whenever it's converted to Apple Music and Spotify, so it's not clipping after conversion. Let's open up the first plugin. The first plugin in this chain is Pro Q4. And when you open this plugin, you're going to notice that there's 3 nodes already created. So we have this roll off here on the sides. So if you notice this right here, it says sides, and we'll get more into that in a second. And all 3 of these are for the sides. So this one is a dip. I move this one around depending on where I need it. And then this one is an increase or a boost in the high end for the hi-hats on the side channel. You don't have to understand this just yet. We're going to get into it and I'm going to help you understand. Okay, so what do I mean when I say on the side channel? In the selector right here, you have a couple of different options, right? You have left channel, right channel, stereo, you have mid, and you have side. So when you're making a move in the EQ on a side, what you're doing is you're taking the information out of the stereo field, not the dead center information here. So whenever I boost this hi-hat information on the side only, I'm not boosting it right down the center in your face. It's only going to be in the stereo field off here that it's a little bit louder and boosted. Same thing with this roll off here. When I roll this off, I'm not rolling off the mid information here, like the 808 and the kick and the snare. I'm rolling off the side information. So I'm rolling off the 808, the kick, and the snare off of the sides, which you don't want there. So this is kind of my default setting where I always start with. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a sweet spot where I can turn the bass, the 808, and the kick mono, or at least make sure that it stays mono. And then I'm going to turn this on and see if I need to dip anything out of the sides for the vocals. And then I'm also going to see if I should increase anything on the hi-hats. So first things first, let's turn these 2 back off and I'm going to play it. And I'm going to show you where I would put this at. So you hear how the bass is still in the ears. You can hear the bass a little bit. I'd probably move that up around like 299, 300.
No, I see I'm in my dream.
Like around 250 to 300 hertz, somewhere around there would be ideal for that. What you're doing with that move is you're just making the 808 and the kick stay mono. You're taking all the 808 and the kick and all of that mono information in the center. You're cutting that out. Okay, so now we'll move on to the second band that I have here. And basically what I'm doing is I'm looking for side information that is like competing with the vocal. So I'll turn this on and I'll start listening.
By any means,
And it doesn't really sound like we need it, so we'll move on. And basically what I was listening for was a spot where the vocal and the maybe some really high information was just clashing, but I don't really hear anything. Like right here, you might be able to notch just a little bit out.
By any means, gotta go and get the cash by any means.
But we use track spacer, we use a bunch of other things. It's not super necessary. So the last thing here is this hi-hat boost or decrease too, if it's too much hi-hat. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm gonna hit the headphone button and I'm listening to see if pulling this information up is gonna make things harsh or if it's just gonna make the hi-hat more clear. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna lift this a bit and then let's play.
By any means, what I'm sipping on codeine. What my
And in this case, it made the hi-hat sound better to me. So I will leave that boost on. And don't overthink this aspect of the mix. Really, realistically, if you think that this is too complicated, you can skip this whole part and start at the next plugin. So you'll notice I didn't do any sort of stereo cuts or like the normal type of cuts. And that's because I have a plugin that I'm going to be doing all my tonal stuff. So you'll see that in a sec. So let's move on to the next plugin here. The next plugin is Soothe 2. And I use a preset for this plugin when it's on my mix bus. I use Balance to the Grammys. And I'll just turn Delta on and just kind of see what I'm taking out. And all I'm looking to do is take out just a little bit of maybe like anything that the plugin finds that might be resident. I'll just turn this on. I'll try to just get creep up there just a little bit and get a little bit of it out there. You don't want to go like this. You don't want it to be like drawing, like, right? You just want a little bit. Cool. And then I'll turn this off. I'll listen to it and I'll just kind of get an idea of where I'm at.
by any means, gotta go and get the cash by.
These are almost unnoticeable little things that we're doing before we actually start making everything super loud. So like the resonances that we're taking out with this plugin is barely noticeable, but it helps. The little details that you do along the way help the overall limiter be able to really increase the loudness. So the next plugin we're gonna open up is my favorite plugin, Fearn VT-5. I love this plugin so much. It makes everything sound great. This is like my official EQ that I'm using on all my songs. Won't use another one, maybe the pull text sometimes, but this is the one I need for tonal shaping because of the vacuum tube. It just makes things sound so good. So I'm gonna go ahead, and what I like to do here normally is I'll boost a little bit of 60 hertz. I will take out a little bit of 30 hertz. And then between 400 and 500, I'll boost this all the way up and I'll kind of just make a decision on which one I want to cut, and then I'll dial this back a lot. Just I'll even put it all the way back and then start cutting again, just so I can really hear so I don't take out too much of the weight of the vocal. The next thing here is the high boost. I have it set at 8K. I might go to 10K or I might go to 16K. I don't really ever end up liking 12K, but it's really a shootout between 8, 10, and 16K. And I'm just boosting maybe 2 dBs at most. This plugin can make stuff harsh if you over boost the high end. So maybe stick to like 2 dBs at most when you're boosting. And then also this plugin has this really cool feature where it has a 28K high cut. So you can cut out information that you can't even hear, but it's there and it makes the song sound just like that much more clean. So without further ado, let's go ahead and just get some adjustments in here. So first thing I'll do is I'll boost this and then I'll listen for that kick, that initial hit. Sounds better just like that already. So if you listen and then with it on, just surrounding your ears a bit more, it sounds really good. And then let's cut. I'm gonna do a drastic thing here and see what it does so I can kind of gauge what I'm listening to. So that was bypassed and now on. So it's not doing a whole lot around 30 hertz. So let me hear it like this. And then I'll increase it all the way. Now I hear it. I still don't hear it affecting anything. So maybe like
By any means, gotta go and get the cash.
yeah, I think maybe just like 2 dBs would be good. Just a little bit. Now, like I said, for this mid cut here, I'm going to increase this all the way, most of the way, and then I'll explain how I make my decision.
By any means, gotta go and get the cash by any means. What I'm sipping on codeine. Where my perks at, no, I see I'm in my dream.
So I'm going to go with 500K. Can't believe I said that. So I'm going to go with 500 hertz, and basically I'm just going to increase this until I hear like the honky, like boomy stuff just kind of like leave the vocal area. And that would sound like this in an extreme way.
By any means, gotta go and get the cash by any means. What I'm sipping on codeine. Where my perks at, no, I see I'm in my dream. By any means,
I'm just kind of shifting back and forth trying to find a sweet spot. And this is kind of like where your engineering ear comes into play. How much music have you listened to be able to know what you're listening for? So listen to a lot of music in the systems that you're using to mix.
By any means, gotta go and get the cash by any means.
So I'm only gonna do about a 2 dB cut right there, not much. And then let's go ahead and increase this, and let's see what we got going on.
By any means, gotta go and
And I'm gonna exaggerate this so you can kind of hear what's happening.
by any means, gotta go and get the cash by any means. What I'm sipping on codeine. Where my purse at? No, I see I'm in my dream.
So it's actually doing a really good job at not making it harsh, even whenever it was like crazy, crazy, crazy boosted. So I'm gonna bypass and I'm just gonna see what we're doing here so far.
By any means, gotta go and get the cash by any means. What I'm sipping by any means, gotta go and get.
Sweet. And then we're gonna use this 28K cut here, and I kind of just go all the way, and then I listen, and then I pull it back.
By any means, gotta go and get the cash by any means. What I'm sipping on codeine. Where my purse at? No, I see I'm in my dream. By any means, gotta go and get the cash by any means. What I'm sipping.
And you can hear whenever I turn it on, it kind of just brought the life into the song just a little bit. We don't want this plugin to be the sole responsibility for the life of the song. We're only giving it a little bit of work to do, and then we can move on to the next plugin. So the next plugin that we have here is the SPL Machine Head, and this plugin is going to be able to take a lot of the workload off of giving the life to the song. So what I'm going to do is I do the same boost for every song almost. I input gain at 1, and then I put my output gain at 1.5, negative 1.5, right there. And then my drive level stays at 3. High frequency adjust 1.5. Low frequency adjust negative 1. And then what I always do immediately is I'll bypass this and play it, and then I'll turn it on. I won't even listen to it with it on first. So just play it.
By any means, gotta go and get the cash by any means. What I'm sipping on codeine.
Literally drills the life back into the song. Tape speed at 15 keeps the bass thumping. You could always turn the tape speed up to 30, and this is what that sounds like.
By any means, gotta go and get the cash by any means. What I'm sipping on.
15 is just, it's smooth. Like, I like 15 because of the way that it makes the bass just rumble, especially with the vocal. It does something where it like makes it makes the vocal like rumble into the beat, and I really like it. So I always keep it at 15. So that's that plugin. It just gives all the life to the song before we start compressing the sounds together, which is what we're going to be doing next. I am using TDR. Chances of you using the SSL G-Bus compressor is very high. If you want to check this one out, you can go check this out. It's the TDR compressor. Also a mixed bus compressor. It's just not a VCA like the SSL is. So a lot of people are probably going to be using the SSL that are watching this video. So just know it's like the same concept. Just pushing the threshold up, getting a like 1 maybe 2 dBs of gain reduction, and then we're pushing the makeup gain up, and that's about it. So let's go ahead and get some compression going on the song.
By any means, gotta go and get the cash by any means. What I'm sipping on codeine. Where my purse at? No, I see I'm in my dream. By any means, gotta go and get the cash by any means. What I'm sipping on codeine.
Cool. So I got about like a dB and a half of gain reduction going on inside of the compressor. Okay, so before I go into any limiter, I'm going to use Gold Clip here to shave off some peaks so I can get the overall sound loud as I possibly can make it. And the way that I use this plugin, right, is I'm going to hit play and I'm going to look at this window right here. I want to see anywhere from like, I want it to at least be hitting -3 right there. So whenever I go into God Particle, it's hitting at the accurate level. So I'm going to play it and I'm going to show you how I go about setting this right here, and then we'll talk about the ceiling.
by any means. Gotta go and get the cash by any means. What I'm sipping on codeine.
So what I did was I gave it like a 0.4, 0.5 boost, so it'll be closer to that 3.
Yeah, by any means.
We're a lot closer now. Now I'm going to pull the ceiling down, so I'm clipping off some of the peaks, and I'm just listening to where it starts getting harsh, so I'm not clipping anything to where it gets harsh.
Yeah, by any means. Gotta go and get the cash by any means. What I'm sipping on codeine. Where my perks at, no, I see 'em in my dream.
Back it off just a little bit here.
Yeah, by any means. Gotta go and get the cash by any means. What I'm sipping on.
And I'm getting around 0.9 of clipping happening, but that'll end up being around like 1.5 while the song plays the whole way through, because there's going to be louder parts of the song. So that's all I do with this plugin. I leave these knobs exactly where they're at. I got those knob placements from Ben Thomas, and I got them and I never moved them. They always sound good right there. Oversampling on 4 times. I'm pretty sure that's what it's always on. Yeah. So leave it there. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my first limiter. My first limiter is God Particle. And now that we adjusted things in Gold Clip, right? So everything's going to be hitting this level at the appropriate spot. So I'm just looking at these windows here to make sure the hi-hats, the vocal, everything's sitting properly. I am deaf in my right ear, so this plugin helps me a lot with the stereo field and just kind of getting everything to sit right. So I'm going to play it and I'm going to just get some limiting and I'm going to check here and make sure everything looks good.
Try caress me.
Right off the jump, there's something going crazy on the beat.
Try caress me.
When that snare's hitting. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the beat and I'm gonna pull up Fab Filter Pro Q4. And I'm gonna make a stereo shelf here, right here. And I'm gonna pull this down, I'm gonna just listen.
Try caress me. Money never let my pockets heavy.
And it was pretty jumping there, so I'm gonna pull it down a good bit, like 3 dBs right there. And let's look now.
Try caress me. Money never.
It's still cracking on that still going hard on the snare.
Try caress me. Money never let my pockets heavy. Got my money up, now they always envy. Never lacking, no, I'm staying ready. I can't stop, no. Try caress me. Money, try caress me.
So what I'm doing is I'm just trying to EQ the beat so this stuff is sitting in these little green dots here much better.
Try caress me. Money never let my pockets heavy. Got my money up, now they always envy. Never lacking, no, I'm staying ready.
You see here, right around where the snare is clapping and the hi-hats are, just pulled it down a good bit too, just to kind of get it to sit better. It sounds better too.
Try caress me. Money never let my pockets heavy.
And then, because I'm not gonna let the plugin decide everything for me, I'm going to then add some back into it. It's okay if it's going over because that's what the beat intended for. You know what I mean? Like, not everything's gonna be perfect for this plugin. I'm just using it as a reference point because I'm deaf in one ear.
Try caress me. Money.
Like, I'm totally okay with that going a little over on the snare because that's how the snare was hitting on the beat. Now, let's go ahead and drive up the limiter.
Try caress me. Money never let my pockets heavy. Got my money up, now they always envy. Never lacking, no, I'm staying ready. Try caress me.
And I'm looking for about a dB of gain reduction inside of this plugin. As I was correct here, it's hitting right at the top of this bar is exactly where I want it to be hitting.
Try caress me.
That's where I like all my songs to be hitting. Everything looks decent in there. So now I'll dial this back by a 0.1 just to get that 0.1 out of there. And it should be a dB now. Then we're going to move on to the final limiter, which I'm going to be using L4 instead of the ozone limiter. This one's just a bit more accessible. So let's go ahead and use this. I'm going to pull my ceiling down to -1. And why I'm doing this is for streaming services. If you use -1, it's giving you just enough headroom for when the conversion happens inside of Apple Music and Spotify. It's not going to cause any sort of intersample peaks, which is going to be clipping, and it's not going to sound good. So I keep my ceiling there, and I turn True Peak on. It's not going to let anything past that -1. Next, we're going to start driving the threshold and getting some attenuation. and we're gonna make this as loud as we can, and then we're gonna check the loudness of the song. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm also gonna change this to more of an aggressive because this song is a bit aggressive.
She try caress me. Money never let my pockets heavy. Got my money up, now they always heavy. Never lacking, no, I'm staying ready.
And I'm looking for about at most 2 dBs of gain reduction, and that's up here in this window. Attenuation is gain reduction. So double click here and I'll reset it, and then
She try caress me. Money never let my pockets heavy. Got my money up, now they always heavy.
I'm also checking out the upwards compressor here to see what I can get out of that. So I'm gonna go to this spot here.
By any means, gotta get it cash by any means. By any means, gotta go and get the cash by any means. What I'm sipping on codeine.
That sounds good to me. I got a bit of that information coming back up too with the upwards compressor. I just shot a video on the L4 UltraMaximizer, how to use it, all the plugin break. I just shot a video on the L4 UltraMaximizer, so if you want to know exactly how to use this plugin, you can go check that video out. I'll leave that link in the description below. Now, let's go ahead and pull up a loudness meter here on the master track, and I have ULean, so I'm just gonna pull up ULean. Some people might have the WLM meter. Same thing. We're just looking at integrated short term, and actually on the L4 it actually has a window. You can just click this for long and short term loves. You can do that if you want. But I like to use this right here. And let's play this song and let's see what kind of loudness we got out of it.
By any means, gotta get it cash by any means. By any means, gotta go and get the cash by any means. What I'm sipping on codeine. Where my perks at, no, I see 'em in my dream. I've been getting higher than a damn fiend. With your bitch and she try caress me. Money never let my pockets heavy. Got my money up, now they always heavy. Never lacking, no, I'm staying ready. I can't stop, no, I gotta go to work. I've been getting faded, let me go and grab my purse. I don't give a fuck, they do not know my worth.
Awesome. Okay, so what happened was we got a short term of negative 6.6 LUFS and an integrated of negative 7.5. It'll probably go down a little bit more. It's a super loud mix. We got this thing actually thumping super loud. Okay, so what we got is a short term of negative 6.6, integrated negative 7.5. This is a very loud mix. So YouTube, Spotify, all those places, they recommend a negative 14 LUFS. We're doubling that right now, so it's crazy loud. Don't ever listen to people who say negative 14 mixed to negative 14. They don't know what they're talking about. The big thing here is the true peak, right? So we left about a point 0.8 of room. So when we send this song off to be converted, it has 0.8 room left for inner sample peaks. So you're not going to get any sort of digital clipping whenever you transfer it over to Apple Music and Spotify, which is what you want. You don't want to see a true peak, God forbid a positive true peak. You don't want if your engineer is serving you up positive true peak values, you got to switch your engineer because he has not done the research yet. He has not learned enough yet. You do not want to be doing that. It's going to make the song sound crunchy inside Apple Music. And I'm also an artist too, so I really know what I'm talking about. I've been victim to this. Don't do it. Make sure that you have this correct. And the only way to do that is by getting a limiter with a hard ceiling. What I would do here is now that the song is limited, I'm going to bypass these plugins and I'm going to show you what we did. So all the plugins are off and then I'm going to turn them on and we'll see what kind of loudness we got.
By any means, gotta go and get the cash by any means. What I'm sipping on codeine. Where my perks at, no, I see 'em in my dream. I've been getting high.
And what you're hearing is radio ready. Like the song is ready. It's super loud. It's super competitive. It's ready to go out. Everything sounds great. And we checked everything in the ULean meter and everything sounds and looks great. So the last thing that I would do is I would go into the plugins and I would turn oversampling on maybe by ×4. I'd go into Soothe 2, make this oversampling. I'd go make it ×4. Inside of this plugin, I know there's oversampling, maybe ×4 as well. And I don't know if this one has oversampling. I'm not sure. I would look around in the settings and check. And we're just kind of getting all the oversampling up there. Really, really high oversampling. And then I would bounce the song. And the way I would bounce a song is either through a print track. So I would go up here, come in here, boom, stereo audio track, name it print, um, set this bus to bus 20, whatever bus, or actually it should be a stereo bus. So I would set it to bus 1920, and then I'd come up in here, go to bus, go to 1920, go like this, boom. And then when you go and hit record, it's gonna record into this new track, and you're gonna have a new track.
By any means, by any means, gotta get it cash by any means, by any means.
Once your song plays the whole way through, you'll have an audio file that you can then double click and rename whatever you want to rename it. And then you'll have that file with only this file selected. You can come in here into this clips list, go up to the triangle. You can hit export clips as files, choose your destination, find a destination, and then you have that, and then you can hit export, and then you instantly have an exported version of your song. You listen through the whole way, so you know that there's no issues, and that is how you do it. That is a full mastering chain inside of Pro Tools that I use on every single song in order to get them loud and also safe. I appreciate you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe to the channel. Also, comment below if you think that there's something else that I should be doing inside the mixing chain that I'm not doing inside the mastering chain. Also, Mixnick is right around the corner. I went and got these wireless mics so I can do interviews and stuff like that at Mixnick. And these things, let me get it, see if I can show you. This is what it looks like. These things are about 80 bucks and they work really good. A lot of people use Rode. It's just really expensive. This one comes with two mics and like you don't need anything. It just automatically connects to the camera and they look really cool too, like the little pieces. This is not a review or nothing like that. I'm just showing you guys what I got. Mixnick's right around the corner. So be ready for that. I appreciate you guys for watching and I will catch you guys on the next video.